George Orwell warned of a world where the very concept of truth could be manipulated by those in power, shaping reality itself to fit their agenda. In his dystopian vision, the state didn't just control information, it controlled what people believed to be real, erasing inconvenient facts and rewriting the past. In 1984, the Ministry of Truth was tasked with constantly revising history, ensuring that only the government's version of events survived. Today, we're witnessing a digital transformation of this idea, not with physical memory holes, but with powerful algorithms and unseen digital gatekeepers deciding what we see. The UK's new Online Safety Act hands the government unprecedented authority to monitor, filter, and restrict online content, shaping the digital landscape for millions. It compels websites and platforms to verify users' identities, making anonymity online much harder and raising concerns about privacy and surveillance. A government-appointed regulator now has the power to determine what speech is acceptable and what must be removed or hidden from public view. The stated goal is to protect children from harmful content and make the internet a safer place for young users. But these sweeping powers also create a framework that could be used to silence dissent, stifle criticism, and limit free expression. The risk is that, in the name of safety, we may be eroding the foundations of a free and open internet, one where ideas can be debated and challenged. The promise of safety is undeniably powerful, but we must ask ourselves, at what cost are we willing to accept this protection? Are we, perhaps unknowingly, trading the right to open debate and diverse viewpoints for a digital cage built on control and surveillance? The UK's decisions will ripple far beyond its borders, setting a precedent that other nations may soon follow, for better or worse. Orwell's warning was never just fiction. It's a lesson for our digital age, one we must remember and act upon before it's too late. If you found this deep dive thought-provoking, don't forget to like and subscribe to Smarto Brains for more engaging explorations into breaking news, politics, sociology, economics, and social policy. The UK Online Safety Act came into full effect in July 2025, marking a major shift in how the internet is regulated across the country. Its mission is clear: to make the UK the safest place in the world to be online, with a special focus on protecting children and young people from harm. The Act targets a wide range of harmful material, such as pornography, self-harm content, hate speech, and terrorist propaganda, by requiring platforms to take action against them. To achieve this, the law imposes a strict duty of care on nearly every online service accessible in the UK, from social media giants to small forums and gaming platforms. Content is split into categories. Illegal content must be removed immediately, while legal but harmful content, like cyberbullying or eating disorder forums, must be blocked from children and teens. Platforms are now required to install powerful filtering and blocking systems, including highly effective age assurance tools to verify users' ages and keep young people safe. In practice, this means mandatory, often intrusive age checks for all users, which could involve uploading ID, facial scans, or other personal data. Private companies are now responsible for enforcing these rules and face massive fines for non-compliance, up to 10% of their global revenue, which could mean billions for the largest firms. The result? Platforms are likely to over-censor and restrict access to avoid penalties, removing content and blocking users even when it's not strictly necessary. The user experience for everyone in the UK will fundamentally change as the internet becomes more tightly controlled and access to information is more closely monitored than ever before. How does a website check if you're over 18? The Act demands robust proof, not just a checkbox. Most sites now require you to upload a government-issued photo ID or take a live selfie for biometric analysis. Sometimes you'll be asked for financial data to verify your age. This turns browsing into a formal identity check, mandatory if you want access. Your sensitive data is usually handled by third-party companies, not the site itself. Firms like Yoti or Persona create centralized databases linking your identity to your online activity. Anonymous browsing is effectively over for much of the UK internet. Now, to access legal but harmful content, you must prove your identity. This creates a permanent record of your online habits. The power dynamic has shifted. Entry to the digital world now requires identification. When the act took effect, the public pushed back hard. VPN downloads in the UK skyrocketed overnight as people sought to reclaim privacy. Using a VPN, users could mask their location and bypass age checks. The regulator, Ofcom, quickly warned platforms not to encourage VPN use, threatening penalties. Some platforms, like Wikipedia, refused to comply, citing threats to privacy and anonymity. Wikimedia prepared for legal battle, defending open collaboration. Others, like Pornhub, simply blocked UK users rather than risk fines. The law doesn't just regulate, it splinters the internet, isolating the UK from global content. The result, a sanitized but smaller internet for UK citizens. Civil disobedience and legal challenges are mounting. The fight for digital freedom is far from over. Age verification is usually handled by third-party companies, not the sites you visit. You're forced to trust unfamiliar firms with your most sensitive data, passports, IDs, even biometric scans. These companies become massive targets for hackers, holding the keys to millions of identities. A breach could expose core documents, leading to identity theft or blackmail. What happens to your data after verification? Policies are unclear and deletion isn't guaranteed. There's a real risk your data could be sold, shared, or used to track you across the web. For vulnerable groups, activists, abuse survivors, or those exploring their identity, anonymity is a lifeline. The Act's one-size-fits-all approach strips away essential privacy protections. Linking real names to online searches can put people in danger. In trying to protect some, the law endangers many others. The Act hands enormous power to Ofcom, the UK's media regulator turned internet authority. Ofcom can demand content removal, alter platform algorithms, and even block entire websites. With a court order, it can erase sites from the British internet. The Secretary of State can direct Ofcom to change its rules for national security or public policy. This creates a direct political lever for online censorship. A small group of regulators, influenced by politicians, now control what millions can see and say. Critics warn this system will chill free expression. Platforms will over-censor to avoid risk. The result? A sanitized, over-censored internet where legal speech is silenced out of fear. Anonymity has always protected those who challenge power or seek support online. The Act's identity checks eliminate anonymous speech on major platforms. Every post and search can now be traced to a real person, creating a chilling effect. People will avoid discussing sensitive topics, fearing consequences from employers, authorities, or online mobs. The law's vague definition of harmful content leads platforms to over-censor, filtering out challenging ideas. End-to-end encryption is also under threat. Ofcom can require services to scan private messages. Security experts warn this breaks encryption for everyone. Companies like WhatsApp and Signal may leave the UK rather than compromise user security. The result, less privacy, less debate, and a more isolated internet. The internet was built as an open, global network, but the Act threatens to dismantle it. Only tech giants can afford the compliance costs. Smaller sites face shutdown or must block UK users. Hobby forums, independent news, and niche communities are disappearing. The splinternet emerges. Access to information now depends on your location. The quirky, independent corners of the web are replaced by sanitized corporate platforms. Centralized power makes it easier for governments to control information. The result, a less diverse, less free, and less useful internet. UK users are locked out of international sites. The global conversation fractures. The dream of a worldwide web is replaced by national internets, each with its own rules. The Act isn't just regulating, it's dismantling the open web piece by piece. The UK's Act is part of a global trend. Governments everywhere are watching and following suit. Around the world, lawmakers are introducing new regulations that reshape how we use the internet, often in the name of safety or protecting children. But these changes come with significant consequences for privacy and freedom online. Australia's similar law takes effect soon, banning under 16s from social media and requiring facial scans for age verification. This means millions of young people will have to prove their identity just to access everyday platforms, raising concerns about data security and surveillance. In the United States, states like Louisiana and Utah now require strict age checks for adult content and social media. These laws are spreading quickly, with more states considering similar measures and tech companies scrambling to keep up with the patchwork of new rules. France demands parental consent for minors and is pushing for a national digital ID system. This could soon become the norm across Europe, as other countries look to France as a model for digital regulation and online identity. As one country passes a restrictive law, others follow, creating a domino effect that accelerates the spread of online controls. Each new law makes it easier for the next government to justify even stricter measures. Tech companies may adopt the strictest standards globally to simplify compliance, rather than tailoring their services to each country. This means that even users in countries with fewer restrictions could feel the impact of the harshest laws. The most restrictive rules often end up setting the global standard, eroding online freedom everywhere. As digital borders tighten, the open internet we once knew is at risk of disappearing. The UK's precedent empowers both authoritarian and democratic governments to justify censorship and surveillance. What starts as a measure for safety can quickly become a tool for control. The fight for a free, private digital future is global, and the outcome in the UK will echo worldwide. Activists, technologists, and ordinary citizens everywhere are watching closely, knowing that what happens here could shape the internet for generations. The battle for the open internet is happening now, and its consequences will last for years. The choices we make today will determine whether the internet remains a place of freedom and innovation, or becomes a tightly controlled space defined by surveillance and restriction. If you found this deep dive helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and follow Smarter Brains for more in-depth explorations of news, politics, and social policy. Stay informed, stay curious, and join the conversation.